Welcome back to my channel, everyone. It's Emily. So you can probably tell by the title of this video that I am going to be talking about sororities today. And I know that Greek life is a little bit controversial, but I really love my sorority, and I hope this information can help anyone else who is thinking about rushing. Now, my video is going to be about my experience at the University of South Carolina. So if you're going to come to USC, I hope this helps you out a lot. So, as y'all may know, I'm a sophomore this year, and for USC it is actually typical for freshmen to go through a rush. Therefore, you have all 4 years and everything like that. I chose to rush as a sophomore, and chose is actually the wrong word. I ended up rushing as a sophomore because the summer before I came to USC, there was a bit of a miscommunication in my family as to who would pay for my rushing and sorority dues and things of that nature. Originally, my dad said that they would pay for it, and then my mom was like, no, you have to pay for it yourselves, talking about me. And that's what it was ultimately decided upon, that I needed to pay for it myself, which is totally alright, but I'm not saying anything bad about people whose parents pay theirs for them. But ultimately I just wasn't prepared for that. I hadn't been saving my money very much, so I just decided to wait and rush sophomore year. This year I signed up for Rush like back in June, and I was really excited about it. So I'm just going to go through our structure of Rush really quick, and I'm going to refer to my handy dandy guidebook. So I'm just going to do a rundown on the schedule. I had to be here on Wednesday, August 12th, which was also 3 days before move-in for the rest of campus. So girls who were living on campus did have to move in a little bit earlier. This didn't really affect me since I was living off campus and I could move in at the beginning of August. But if you were planning on rushing as a freshman, you will have to move in early. On Wednesday, we had a mandatory orientation where we learned a little bit more about sorority life in general, and we had speakers from the sorority council, and we were also put into our Pi Chi groups. Pi Chi is the term that we use at USC, and you have Pi Chis that are your recruitment counselors, and I had 2 for my group, and they were amazing. Over the next week and a half during recruitment, you start with wearing some t-shirts that were provided. This is one of them. This is the other one. And throughout each round, it gets dressier and dressier. So for 4 days total, you wear t-shirts. For 1 day, you wear a sundress. And for the last round and the last day, you wear a more cocktail dress. It is in accordance with the seriousness of each of the rounds. It starts with a scholarship round, moves on to leadership round, philanthropy round, and sisterhood round. The week and a half of festivities ends on bid day, and you dress very casual for that. Tank tops, athletic shorts, that sort of thing. Moving on to my personal recruitment experience, this is something that I've wanted to do for more than a year and a half at this point. I knew that I wanted to rush a sorority whenever I was a senior in high school, and I was kind of bummed whenever I made the decision that I would have to wait another year to rush, but I was still really excited about it. And I knew that there were some GPA requirements that each sorority kind of had of its own, but they weren't really published exactly as to what their minimum GPA was. And freshman year, I was a biology major, and I hated it, and I was bad at it, and my GPA did suffer. I took 12 credit hours over the summer to help boost my GPA, just for school in general, but also for sorority recruitment. But when I got my final grades back, it was too late for me to update my GPA in the sorority system. So I participated in round 1, which took 2 days because there were a lot of houses to visit. There were 12 in total. They didn't want to put us through all that in 1 day. I went through round 1 and I was feeling great about it, being in each of the houses. It was really neat, and there were a lot of girls and a lot of houses that I felt like I connected with. So moving forward to round 2, which there was a day or two in between the end of round 1 and the beginning of round 2. We were outside with our Pi Chi group, and they handed out our lists. And our lists are where it tells you what sorority you'll be visiting that day, or what sororities. And on round 2, you could visit up to 9. I got my list back, and there were only 2 sororities listed, and I'm just not gonna say names and everything, which means I was dropped by 10 houses. And it was pretty devastating. I was totally blindsided. At first, I couldn't understand why I had been dropped from 10 houses. Did I really say the wrong things to that many people? It was just, it was not a good time for me, but I wanted to give the 2 sororities that had invited me back, you know, another chance, and I went back to them that day, and I still wasn't really loving them, but by the end of round 2, I did kind of figure out that it must have been my GPA that kind of dropped me. So in that sense, it was a little bit my fault. It is what it is. So round 2, went to 2 houses. Round 3, I got both those houses back and went again. Round 4, I got my list back and I only have 1 house at that point. Even though I'd been there 3 times and just really didn't feel that great of a connection, I was like, Emily, just go through with it. You need to give them another chance. And so I did, but when I walked out of the house after spending an hour with the girls and listening to them share about their sisterhood, I just still couldn't imagine myself there. With a heavy heart, I went back to the convention center. I had to find my Pi Chis and tell them that I wanted to drop recruitment. And this was the night before bid day. They were excellent. They did sit with me and talk with me, made sure that's what I really wanted to do. I spent a little bit of time alone and came back to them and was like, you know, I really do just want to drop. And they were awesome about it. They totally understood. So I signed the paper to drop sorority recruitment and went home and just kind of sat here sad. One of the sororities I really loved, they are relatively new on campus. I got to do continuous open bidding for them, where they didn't get as many girls to fill a quota, and that's just how it runs. I got invited to go to some informal recruitment events with them, and that was really nice. It was about 5 weeks after bid day had happened and after I dropped recruitment that I got an email one morning saying that they had extended me a bid, and I was over the moon about it. So you might be saying, Emily, what sorority are you even in? And if you watched my video of Who Knows Me Best with My Friends, you probably will already know this answer, but I have decided to be a new member in Pi Beta Phi SC Alpha. And I could not be more excited. I have met so many girls in my 3 weeks of being in the sorority. I just love everything about it. Make sure to keep your GPA up if you are rushing as a sophomore is my biggest bit of advice. But don't get discouraged if you have to drop out of formal recruitment. I hope this video was helpful to anyone looking for more information on recruitment at the University of South Carolina, or maybe needed a little bit of a pick-me-up if your sorority search didn't go quite how you planned it. There is so many other ways to get involved on college campuses other than just Greek life, but I really love it. I am a part of other student organizations as well, but my sorority is definitely where I've been able to meet the most people the fastest. And of course, it's not such a bad thing. You get to take cute pictures or have cute little sayings. I'm personally really looking forward to Big Little reveal. It's a really neat support system. There's so many girls out there, you know, give you a ride or something like that just because you're sisters. I mean, that sounds a little bit corny, but it works out and it's really neat. So I encourage people to go through recruitment even if you think it's not really your thing. It's a great way to meet people. I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Today I'm just going to do a quick little get ready with me video because I am about to head out to the South Carolina State Fair, or however the jingle goes. I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to try out one of these get ready with me videos.